What if the biggest argument in your life is happening inside your own head? You replay one conversation from 3 days ago. You imagine 10 different ways tomorrow could go wrong. And somehow, the more you think about it, the less certain you feel. That is overthinking. It feels like problem solving. But sometimes, your brain is not solving a problem at all. It is simply running the same problem again and again. So why does your mind do this? And more importantly, can you actually stop it? To understand overthinking, you first need to understand something surprising. Thinking itself is not the enemy. Your brain is designed to think beyond the present moment. It remembers the past. It predicts the future. It compares possibilities. It tries to guess what other people might be thinking. That ability is extremely useful. It helps you learn from mistakes. It helps you prepare for danger. It helps you make decisions before something even happens. But the same ability can become a loop. You remember something that happened. Your brain asks what it meant. Then it asks what could have happened differently. Then it imagines what might happen next. And suddenly one small event has become a full investigation. This is where two ideas become important: worry and rumination. Worry usually points toward the future. What if I fail? What if they dislike me? What if something goes wrong? What if I make the wrong decision? Rumination often points toward the past. Why did I say that? Why did they react like that? What should I have done differently? Why does this keep happening to me? Different direction. Same trap. Psychologists often describe these patterns under a broader idea called repetitive negative thinking. A 2025 meta-analysis by Kilian Leander Stenzel and colleagues examined 55 studies involving nearly 5,000 participants. It found that cognitive behavioral therapy produced a moderate reduction in repetitive negative thinking, including worry and rumination. That finding matters. It tells you something simple. Overthinking is not just a personality flaw. It is a pattern that can change. But why does your brain get stuck in the first place? Imagine your brain as a prediction machine. Every day it receives an enormous flood of information: faces, words, sounds, memories, body sensations, possible threats, possible rewards. It cannot carefully analyze all of it, so it uses shortcuts built from previous experience. And here is the catch. If something feels uncertain, your brain may keep generating explanation after explanation, because uncertainty itself can feel unbearable. This creates a strange loop. You think because you want certainty, but the more possibilities you generate, the more uncertain you actually become. Have you ever tried to make absolutely sure you made the right decision? You check it again, then you imagine one more possibility. For a few seconds, thinking feels productive, but eventually you are no longer gathering information. You are chasing a feeling of complete certainty that may not even exist. This is one reason overthinking is so exhausting. Your brain is doing real work even when the thought produces no new answer, and there is another reason this happens. Your brain has systems built for internally focused thought, memory, imagining the future, thinking about yourself and other people. One network researchers study closely is called the default mode network. Despite its name, it is not simply an off switch. Reviews by neuroscientists including Jonathan Smallwood and colleagues describe this network as involved in internally directed processes such as remembering, imagining, and abstract thought. That is genuinely useful. Without it, you would struggle to plan your future or learn from your past. The problem was never that your brain thinks internally. The problem is what happens when that thinking turns repetitive, negative, and impossible to put down. Think about a song stuck in your head. You never chose to play it for the 100th time, yet somehow it keeps returning. Overthinking behaves the same way. A thought triggers another thought. That thought triggers a memory. The memory triggers a prediction. The prediction creates anxiety, and the anxiety makes the original thought feel even more important. Now the loop has momentum. This is why simply telling yourself, "Stop thinking about it," rarely works. In fact, forcing a thought away can make you more aware of it. Your brain first has to check whether the thought is still there. And by checking, you are thinking about it again. So what actually helps? The first step is surprisingly simple. Stop treating every thought as a problem that needs solving. A thought is an event in your mind. It is not automatically a fact. It is not automatically a prediction. And it is definitely not a command. Suppose you think everyone probably thinks I am stupid. You could immediately start collecting evidence. Who looked at me strangely? Why did that person stop talking? Did I sound nervous? What did they mean by that message? Or you could take one step backward. I am having the thought that everyone thinks I am stupid. That small change creates distance. You are no longer inside the thought. You are watching it from just outside. This idea shows up across several psychological approaches, including cognitive behavioral and mindfulness-based methods. The goal is not to empty your mind. The goal is to change your relationship with whatever appears in it. The second step is a brutally practical question. Is there an action you can take right now? If the answer is yes, find the smallest useful one. Worried about an exam? Study for 20 minutes. Worried about an email? Write the first draft. Worried about a conversation? Prepare 3 points you actually want to say. Action turns vague mental energy into something concrete. But what if there is no action? Then you may be facing uncertainty, not a problem. And uncertainty cannot always be solved by thinking harder. Sometimes the most useful sentence you can say is, "I do not know yet." It feels uncomfortable. It can also be freeing. Your brain does not need a complete answer to every question right now. The third step is to make your thinking concrete. Overthinking loves to stay abstract. Why is my life like this? What if everything goes wrong? Why do people treat me this way? These questions are enormous. Your brain can spend hours lost inside them, so shrink the question. What exactly happened? What part of this can I actually control? What is one thing I can do today? Now your brain has something specific to hold onto instead of an endless abstract loop. The fourth step is to give worry a boundary. If your mind keeps dragging the same issue back at night, do not necessarily fight it. Write the thought down. Then decide when you will return to it. For example, I will think about this tomorrow at 6 p.m. for 20 minutes. It sounds almost too simple. But you are changing the message your brain receives. From "this must be solved right now" to "this has a place, but it does not own the entire day." And when the thought returns early, you can say, "Not now, it is already scheduled." The fifth step is something people constantly underestimate. Move your attention back into the present. Look around the room. Notice 5 things you can see. Listen for the sounds around you. Feel your feet against the floor. Take one slow breath. Pay attention to what your body is actually experiencing right now. This will not magically delete a difficult thought, but it gives your attention somewhere else to go. And that matters because attention is limited. The more completely you feed an overthinking loop, the stronger and more familiar that loop becomes. There is a bigger lesson hiding underneath all of this. You should not expect to eliminate every unwanted thought. That was never the goal. A healthy mind still worries sometimes. A healthy mind still replays embarrassing moments. A healthy mind still imagines bad outcomes. The difference is flexibility. Can you notice the thought without immediately following it? Can you return your attention to what actually matters? Can you act, even while uncertainty is still sitting there? That is a far more realistic goal than a completely silent mind. Research also gives some real reason for optimism. A 2021 meta-analysis by Dane McCarrick and colleagues examined psychological interventions targeting worry and rumination, and found they can meaningfully reduce these repetitive thinking patterns. A separate 2018 meta-analysis of cognitive behavioral approaches for depression found real reductions in repetitive negative thinking, with especially promising results for rumination-focused therapy. So stopping overthinking was never about finding one magical trick. It is about training a different response to the thought. Notice it, name it, ask whether it actually needs action, act if something is controllable, accept uncertainty when it is not, because the biggest argument in your life was never with the world around you. It was always happening inside your own head. And the moment you stop needing to win it, the argument finally starts to quiet down.